In this video, we are going to solve probability problems by using tree diagrams. Now, let's look at this example. Now, these questions are long, so we have to read them carefully and understand what the question is asking us. All right? Now, it says a bag contains 2 red balls and 3 blue balls. So this is our bag, right? And it contains 2 red balls and 3 blue balls. So that's what we have. Now, a ball is picked, right? Its color is recorded and then the ball is replaced. Replaced means you pick the ball and then you put back into the bag. All right? That's what we call as replacement. So we replace the ball, we put the ball back. Right? Now the questions are, find the probability of picking red first and blue second. Or, in the second one it says 1 red and 1 blue. You will see that these two questions are actually asking different probabilities. And find the probability of picking blue twice. Right? That's what we're going to find out. Now, before working on this, we have to draw a tree diagram. Let's see how. So while constructing a tree diagram, you write the events at the top. So it's going to be the first pick, yeah, and then the second pick. So these are called as the events. And we write it at the top. Now, I have 2 different colors, so I'm going to draw 2 branches like this. Now these are called as branches, okay, because we are drawing a tree diagram after all. Now for each one of them I'm going to write down the possibilities. I can get a red ball, or I can get a blue ball. These are the possible outcomes, isn't it? Now, this is my first pick, so I just write these under the event, which is the first pick. And then, for each one of those outcomes, I have to copy-paste, actually, this small diagram here for the second event. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to draw 2 branches for each one of them. And then I'm going to write red and blue. And here it's going to be red and blue. Basically, you can see that I just copy-pasted here this first one into here and here for the second event. All right? So I drew my branches, I wrote my outcomes. Sorry, these are my outcomes, right? I can get red or blue, right? I wrote all these here. Now, I have to work on the probability of each outcome. Now, we were to have 2 red balls and 3 blue balls. So, picking a red ball from the bag will be, well, there are 2 red balls out of a total of 5. So it's going to be 2 over 5. Now I have to write each probability for each outcome on or above or under each branch. So for the blue, I have 3 blue balls out of 5 balls. Now remember that we pick the ball and then we replace the ball, meaning we put the ball back into the bag, right? So again, while calculating the probabilities for the second event, I will have the same number of red balls, same number of blue balls, and so the total will be the same. So basically, again, picking a red ball will be 2 over 5 because we have 2 red balls out of 5 and we have 3 blue balls out of 5, so it's going to be 3/5. Here, again, it's going to be 2 over 5 for this one and 3 over 5 for the blue one. So these are the probabilities, right? I have to write each outcome's probability above or under each branch. Okay, this is very important. So when you look at this tree diagram column-wise, okay, so you have the branches drawn and the outcomes written. You will have probabilities of the outcomes and then probabilities of the outcomes. When you look at it in columns, okay, it's going to be like this. All right? Now, this is called as a tree diagram. Okay? And the questions, let's see the questions now. In the first question, it says we are going to pick red first, and then we are going to pick blue. So, we have to now follow this route. Red first, and then blue. So let me follow this. It's going to be red, and then it's going to be blue. So I'm going to end up from here. Now this means I'm going to multiply these two probabilities. It's going to be 2/5 multiplied by 3/5. So I'm going to get 2 times 3, 6. 5 times 5, 25. The reason that I multiply is that I go like probability of red, right? And then probability of blue. So it must be red first and, right? It is very important. And probability of picking a blue in the second one. So just because this is an AND connection, I must multiply. This is very important. So if two events or two outcomes are connected with AND, then you must multiply. So this is going to be the answer to the first question. So it's going to be 6/25 for the first one. In the second one, it says 1 red and 1 blue. Now, let's see how we're going to work this out. Now, it says it must be red and blue, but it doesn't give us any order. So it could be red and blue, right? It could be this, or it can be blue or red and red, right? It's going to be blue and red. So just because we don't know which order is asked, we have to consider both possibilities. So I'm going to write down like, well, it's going to be red, so it's going to be 2/5, and blue, so it's multiplication, 3/5, which I found as 6/25 before. Or it's going to be blue and red, so I have to write these down. It's going to be 3/5 times 2/5, and basically it's going to be 6/25 again. So we end up with the same probability. So having the order changed does not change the probability itself in this case. So basically, just because we don't know whether it's red and blue or blue and red, I have to consider both. These are connected with the connector OR. All right? It is either red and blue or blue and red. So what I need to do is to add them. If it's an OR connection, you have to add the probabilities. So you will end up with 12/25. So basically, that's the difference between these two questions. It's 12/25 because we don't have an order here, but in the first question, the order is given. So it's 6/25, right? Now we want to go with blue twice. So this means I'm going to pick blue, and then I'm going to pick blue again. So I'm going to end up with this. So it's going to be 3/5 multiplied by 3/5. And that's going to be 9/25. That's going to be the answer. So it's going to be, let's write here, 9/25. Right? So what happens here is that if I'm picking blue twice, this means I'm picking blue and I'm picking blue. And just because I say and to connect these probabilities, I multiplied. right? And if it is an or situation, if we don't know the order, as in the previous example, it could be this or that, we have to add those probabilities. Now, another question. If we were to find out the probability of not picking blue, right? Then basically, we would just calculate the probability of picking blue, as we did here, and then we would just go like, okay, now if I take that 9/25 away from 1, which is the sum of all the probabilities, right, then I would find, which would be 16/25 by the way, I would find the probability of not picking blue, because now I ignore this branch, and instead of calculating this branch, and that branch, so instead of doing 3 calculations and adding them, I just calculate this last branch and take away from 1 for not picking blue. Right. Now in this exercise it says a bag contains 5 green balls and 7 blue balls, right? So the same idea applies. There are 2 events. Jocelyn picks 1 ball, records its color and replaces the ball. Then she picks another ball and records its color. So you're going to draw a tree diagram, and then you're going to find, using the tree diagram, these 2 probabilities. Now, do this work on your book and submit the second question online. Thank you.